Carlos Ramirez, owner of NBS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey and Daytona, Florida. So Lynn brought us his Road Glide in for a little bit of a wiring rescue and an upgrade. He had the setup done by another shop, wasn't happy with the way it sounded, didn't feel he had enough mid-bass, felt that the system should play louder than it did. So we went in and the previous shop cut up his factory harness without his permission. They installed a large amplifier, took up the entire fairing that didn't produce a lot of power, which really didn't make sense to us. So we repaired all the harnesses. We upgraded the amplifier. We went with two smaller amplifiers that fit in the same location as the one large amplifier that was previously installed. They used a fuse holder that we don't approve of. It was all minor stuff, but when you add it all together, the client wasn't happy, wasn't a product he was happy with, wasn't the sound he was happy with, so then he reached out to us. We ended up keeping the speakers that were previously installed. We upgraded the amplifier. Even the way that they had a DSP in it, but even the way the DSP was wired was wrong. They spliced into two different harnesses. So instead of the DSP and the amplifier having the same remote turn on, they had two separate turn ons. So the bike was getting a pop when you turn the bike on and off from the audio system, because there was the amplifier was turning off at a different time than the DSP. The wiring that was used was not oxygen-free copper, so we had to pull out all the power wiring, install oxygen-free copper wiring. Then the client decided to upgrade to add 8s in the bag, so we ran wires into the bag, ran quick disconnects into the saddlebags. But after we were finished, the customer was completely happy. It was it's just got to pay attention to the details. It was all the small little things that added up to one big problem. But here's the video. You'll see what we were up against. You'll see how we fixed it and made the client happy. The bike had really good equipment in it. The only thing we replaced was the amplifier. It had Beyma tweeters, PRV carbon speakers, uppers and lowers, PRV speakers in the tour pack, so everything was usable. The amplifier didn't have enough power in our opinion, so we upgraded the amplifier and we added a second amplifier. So we went with FLX 700.4 from Cicada. We bridged one to run the 8s that we added in the saddlebags, and then the other one we ran in stereo to run the Beyma tweeters, PRV carbons, uppers and lowers, and PRV in the tour pack. Bike ended up sounding phenomenal. Client was super happy. We're super happy. The previous shop went into the DSP with a line converter. So when you use a line converter, it crushes the signal at the high end. If you put it on the scope, you can see it. If you put it on RTA, it cuts the signal in the upper frequencies above 15K, and it cuts the lower bass frequencies. And all you have to do is flash the radio and go speaker level into the DSP, which is what we did. So we pulled that out, repaired the factory harnesses, put an NVS Audio T harness in, which goes speaker level directly from the radio, RCA into the HCAM mini DSP. And once you flash the radio, it becomes low voltage and it doesn't overdrive the input of the DSP, and you don't need a line converter. So check it out. So this bike was in for a tune and it turned into a wiring rescue. So we have amplifier comes with oxygen-free copper wire, and they spliced it into cheap aluminum wire. See that? See that? They cut his factory pod wires without the client's permission. So we got to pull it all out and redo it. The bike was in for a tune, now it's going to be more than a tune. So we have cheap aluminum wire. That's got to come out. They cut up his factory wire harness. That's got to be repaired. They used a line converter when all you have to do is flash the radio. So they use a line converter going into the DSP. We're going to remove it. We're going to use RT harness, flash the radio, and go directly into the HCAM mini DSP. This amp is not powerful enough to run the high power PRV carbon fiber speakers that they chose, so the customer's not getting enough output, enough mid bass. So we're going to clean up the wiring, run an NVS Audio oxygen-free copper wiring kit, take out the aluminum wires, and then add 8s in the bags. So as I trace and look around, we have remote turn on. And you look, and it's tied there, and it's running across this way, and it ties into the accessory plug. So remote turn on for the amp, going this way. By the way, they make a plug that goes into that, so you don't have to splice in, but no problem. The remote turn on goes that way, and it goes to the amp. So you figure the amp remote turn on be the same as the DSP remote turn on. No, they splice into the parking light harness to power the DSP. So instead of catching everything from here, you have splice connection, splice connection, splice connection, and then you got a connection for a different device that needs the same turn on over here. That doesn't make sense. Plus these connectors not waterproof. Plus that should be a red, if you use T-taps, which you shouldn't, that should be a red T-tap on that wire because that wire's super thin. But it's all right, we're gonna pull it all out. We're gonna repair all these harnesses. We're gonna get remote turn on from our NVS Audio T harness that comes off the radio, and it's gonna eliminate all that. So not only do we have cheap aluminum wire at the battery, but we also have, it looks like LED wire just wrapped around the battery bolt. No ring terminal. And I don't see a fuse on the positive line. Hopefully it's in there. I don't see it. I'll let you know in a minute. The fuse is there, but it's that evil fuse that I hate. The glass fuse holder. At least it's there. We're going to use our AK3 wiring kit to clean this up. So, wires for the lowers, power and ground for 2 amps, all oxygen-free copper, proper fuse distribution block. So we're upgrading from that to that.
This is what Josh cut?
Nick cut these. Oh, Nick cut these?
Huh? He just wants to know who to blame. Okay.
And there was some kind of like breaker or something. I guess the fuck.
Oh, it's in the video. I talk crap about it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What the hell is it? A fuse?
It's a fuse, but it's the shittiest fuse you can use. It's a glass fuse holder. So the problem with and I made a whole video on this too. The problem with the glass fuse holders is they're held in by pressure. So you don't want a fuse that's held in by pressure because vibrations, everything affects the fuse. You want a fuse that's held down with a screw, a mechanical fastener. Sure. So we say goodbye to these 2 evil pieces that weren't needed on this bike with the cheap aluminum wire. There's the DSP through the T harness. Perfect signal through the radio now that it's flashed.
Queensway, 3 dice CeeLo, 3 card Marley, Labor Day parade, rest in peace Bob Marley, Statue of Liberty, long live the World Trade, long live the King, yo. I'm from the Empire State.